This episode, we cover financial records, homegrown savings, and credit score myths. This is the Living Young and Free Show, giving the 25 and under crowd tips, tricks, and hacks to get the most out of your money. Hi, I'm Cheryl, and welcome to episode 36. First up, we have Josh, who's going to cover which financial records you should keep.
I highly recommend getting something like this to keep all of your important documents organized. You can keep your school paperwork, hospital records, just all sorts of stuff all inside of here. But if you want a more detailed look at what's inside, then I highly recommend that we go inside. Hey there everyone. So, here's what you need to keep your... Now first off, some documents you should consider hanging on to are things that are just really important. High school and college transcripts, diplomas, proof of purchases for just about anything big, hospital bills. Just think, am I going to need this later? And if so, then hang on to it. Getting a reasonably sized folder is going to help you keep those big items without having to worry about having a mess and massive amount of clutter everywhere. Secondly, receipts for large items should be kept, just in case something goes wrong. This goes for computers, cameras, electronics, anything big that you've spent money on. So this way, in case something goes wrong with the item, you know that you can take it back. So take a look on when the warranty runs out for those items, but keep those in your big briefcase thing of awesomeness. Keep tax documents for up to 7 years. This is because you never know when you might get audited, like let's say the IRS doesn't believe that you spent $6,000 on that computer that you had to have for school. For these instances, hang on to those tax documents. I keep mine in separate folders, but in the same spot on that, briefcase thing of awesomeness. They're right here, but you can't have them.
And back to you, Cheryl. You wouldn't happen to know how to get out of here, would you?
Thanks, Josh. The only way I know how to get out of there is to get to the chopper. Next up, we have Sarah Dale, who's going to show how to save money by growing your own herb garden.
Hey Cheryl, welcome to my back porch. As you know, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I love to cook, but that also means I spend a lot of money in the kitchen. When I'm cooking, I love to use fresh herbs, and that can get really expensive. A little pack with like 2 ounces of fresh herbs can run between $2 and $4 a piece. So today I'm going to teach you how to save some money by making your own container herb garden. Okay, so there are a couple ways you can go about doing this. The first way is a little more expensive, but it's great if you're in a hurry and you're ready to start eating your herbs right away. I went ahead and bought some that are already grown. These were about $3.50 a piece, and that's what a packet of herbs cost. I could have bought this plant for that price, or I could have bought a pack of herbs, so the plant is obviously the better choice. Now, there are a ton of herbs out there to choose from, but really only choose the ones that you know you're going to cook with. I got chives, cilantro, sage, rosemary, and basil. So when you go to buy your herbs, make sure you look at the growing specifications. Do they like full sunlight or partial shade? Do they like to be watered every day, or do they like dry soil? Also, another thing you want to look at is if they come back every year, because some of them do. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. For example, these chives will come back every year. Okay, so now it's time to plant your herbs. You're just going to find a container. It can be any container. I had this old ice bucket from tailgates laying around, so you could plant all of your herbs in this if you wanted, or you can plant them each in separate pots, like this one. I decorated it, thank you. And then also, I found this little window box, and it was $1 at the Dollar Tree. You can't beat that. Then all you need to do is buy some potting soil and fill them up. You're going to take your herbs and you're going to soak them in water before you plant them, and after you're done soaking them in water, you're just going to peel this back and drop them in. There's a second way to do this that is a lot less expensive, but it takes a little bit longer. You can grow the herbs yourself from seeds. Now most stores like Walmart, Lowe's sell these seed packets for only $1. And you just have to get an egg carton like this. Make sure the eggs are not in it. You just put a little bit of dirt in each egg crate, and make sure you keep them watered and put a little bit of fertilizer on, and you wait for them to reach their full potential, and then you replant them in a different kind of pot. Of course, if you want to save even more money, you can plant your herbs straight into the ground. Back to you, Cheryl. I've got to go wash my hands.
Thanks, Sarah Dale. The key to gardening is to not be afraid to get your hands dirty. Sorry! Just kidding. Last up, we have Rob, who's going to cover the 4 myths of credit scores.
Today on Myth Crackers, your host Clem Savage takes a break from blowing things up, experimenting with voltage, and building dancing robots to crack some of the most difficult myths in the world about credit scores. Our first myth is it hurts your score to check your credit report. Remember that the purpose of a credit score is to find out how likely you are to default on your loan. A request to check your score by a financial institution usually means that you're borrowing money, and to a credit company, this can mean trouble. But the same goes for someone who just wants to make sure that their information is correct. Therefore, checking your credit report will not hurt your score.
This myth is cracked.
Our next myth is checking your credit score hurts your score. It's a good idea to check your credit report annually for errors at a site like annualcreditreport.com. Now, usually when you check your credit report, you don't get your score unless you pay for it. A service like Credit Karma can be used to check your TransUnion score, but it will not provide your FICO score. However, the two can be compared. But regardless of how you check your score, it will not affect it.
This myth is cracked.
Our next myth is that it hurts your score to shop around for the best loan. The creators of the credit score understand that shopping around for the best loan is common. This means that dozens of financial institutions could be making a hard inquiry to check your score, but this is taken into account. That's why all hard inquiries made within a 30-day period by a lender only count as one credit check. Now, the rules can change slightly with credit card companies, so be sure to read your fine print.
This myth is cracked.
That wraps up this episode of Myth Crackers, but you can find more information like this at bargaineering.com. And tune in next time when we tackle more difficult myths like all puppies are cute.
This myth is a fact.
And all Oreos are delicious.
Fact.
And all explosions are hot.
Also a fact.
Kaboom! And that's our show. If you have any feedback or ideas for upcoming episodes, feel free to comment below or email me at livingyoungandfree@gmail.com. Join us next time for more great tips, tricks, and hacks on how to make the most of your money. Young and Free is a credit union movement that gives young people a voice, a head start, and useful information.